Alright, house phones. It's Sunday again. Here are the race preachers having their racial hate club, setting up for it. Let's see if we can talk to them before they start yelling. I'd like to have a low-level conversation before the yelling starts, if that's cool. All right. So the questions that I'd like to ask you today are, I understand that the things that you're preaching are because you believe that the Bible is true. Now, some people believe that that's not true, and some people believe that the Quran is true, right? And so if someone were out here preaching the Quran, they'd be doing evil because it's not a true book, even if they believed it was.
I mean, the Muslims believe in the Bible, and the Quran is, if anything, an extension of the Bible.
Right, but we're talking about the trueness of the Quran and preaching out of it. If someone, because you and I agree that the Quran is not true, and so if someone was over there preaching it, we could agree they'd be doing evil because the Quran is not true.
Yeah, I suppose.
And so whether you're doing good or evil is dependent on whether you're right about the Bible being true. Is sort of what I'd like to agree about.
Yeah, but that's only been given to, really that ain't even nothing that's up to you.
Whether it's true.
Yeah, you've either been drawn and it's been given to you or not. And through that, those who are drawn and it's given to, that through them the whole earth is going to be restored back in order. Okay.
And the order is a racial order. Described in the Bible, the order is racial.
Yeah, beginning with the Israelites.
And so you're saying that the people who don't believe in the Bible don't believe in the Bible because the Creator doesn't want them to.
Yep.
And there's nothing they can do about that.
Yeah, exactly.
And you consider that a fair sort of state of affairs.
Well,
just and fair.
Grab Romans 9 and 13.
I don't believe. I understand. I'm not quoting scripture to you. I'm not quoting my scripture to you.
We're coming out of the Bible.
I understand that you believe the Bible is true, and that your sense of justice comes from what the Bible tells you is just.
You said you like that song.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Why do you think Jesus lied though?
Because of the things that he said. I read his book and I noticed some of the things were not true. And,
like what?
Like hell. There's no such place as hell. This is my YouTube information. And also that, God loves one race more than another. I think that's a lie, and Jesus said it, so I think that makes him a liar.
What was the scripture and shit?
Well,
white people that he said he loved more? I'm assuming.
The tribe of Israel.
The so-called white man.
The tribes of Israel.
Israelis are technically dark, but and if you watch movies and shit, they're white people.
I'm not talking about the movies, I'm talking about the character in the Bible who said that the tribe of Israel is more beloved than the other tribes. I think that's a racist thought.
So it's kind of extremist to you, saying that everybody else, they can go pretty much just fuck themselves. If you're Israelite or whatever, you're good to go.
Yeah, he was basically saying, I have chosen a people and they are the children of Israel and they should be my people, and I think that's a racist thing to do.
So I got another question for you.
Yeah.
Where do you think the world's going today?
In toward the future, I don't know how to answer that other than just toward the future.
I don't know what you believe in, but climate change, all these big corporations,
yeah,
all this money they have,
yeah,
people, the government, people complaining about shootings and shit
yeah.
Just where do you think it's going in general?
Toward the future.
But what is the future? Is that bad or good? What is that hold?
It is both. It is both. Is it better or worse than now? Is that what you're asking?
I think it's going to be worse. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a lot more of it, and some of it will be better and some will be worse. I don't know how to.
In what terms? You say future, that could be technology.
Yeah, just tomorrow is the future. I mean we're all headed toward the future inexorably. We're drawn towards it.
And we just give them a snack.
Alright. I just want to know what you thought, man.
Yeah. No. I hope I've answered. I don't mean to avoid answering. I think.
No, it's not that.
Yeah.
Just me personally, I think we're all fucked.
Every 5 hours.
I believe I'm going to live to be 65,
but not
70.
You personally.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about you or me. I'm talking about the children that's walking around here.
Yeah, I think
the babies that aren't born.
I think the trees are going to have to find a way to move habitation because I think there's a lot of sorrow that is going to be happening in the future. I think it exists. I think it's going to be that. But I think the opposite is going to be there as well. I think we're going to create a lot of whatever the opposite of sorrow is
But you're
together.
talking about, when I think of opposite, I think the people that have all the money, they'll be living comfortably and they'll make
And flying through space like
Elon Musk and shit,
yeah,
yeah.
and what's his name? He did it today. The Virgin Atlantic guy, Branson. He's flying through space today instead of feeding people with all that money.
Yeah, but-
yeah. I think the people with money are making bad decisions, and suffering will happen because of
But
it.
when you say the future will be better and worse,
Yeah,
what I just understood was you're saying that the people that can afford to make it better, they will, but for themselves, and that may trickle down.
it may, maybe they might make it better for themselves. Maybe other people will make it better for others. I think there's going to be so much future that we're going to see better and worse things than we've seen. I
So
think
you've
it's
been
true.
talking to these dudes, obviously. What do they believe?
They believe in the Bible, and they believe that the Bible is.
So you standing next to them just because.
They come out every week here to hold what they call camp, and I've been engaging with them for a few months and trying to sort of
I'm trying.
understand what they believe. Oh, I didn't mean to zoom, guys. Sorry about that. That's embarrassing. Oh, zoomed right up my nose.
My first question is, what do you think about what I was just talking about?
So he was asking this guy, he's like, man, he was like, so, if God prefers another race, I'm sure you're going to say it's so-called.
I wasn't even worried about race.
So he really,
I'm thinking. My first question is, the state we're in now, right? You can walk around here, go get Starbucks, buy a phone, whatever. What do you think going to happen 30, 20, 50 years?
We're not planning to be here that long, man. We're hoping that.
Not you. See, that's the same thing he was doing.
We're planning.
We're talking about y'all first. You said we are.
we're talking about we as a people. Ain't nobody's going to be in America. Ain't no fucking
So
way.
that's what you.
We believe that this place
Well,
is
what's the
better.
reason?
The scripture, the prophecies in the Bible say, look at the sign in our country for today, that we should be looking for.
Are you talking about?
What's the best case scenario for you, man? You want this place to continue? I mean, think about it. 100 years from now, this damn devil's going to extinct the whole goddamn universe, man. He's already destroyed the world. The oceans are going to
when
extinct.
you
The ozone layer's
when you
going away.
say devil, you're talking strictly spiritual, or can you like describe a?
He has a physical counterpart.
What's that group
The
of
spiritual
people?
demon Satan ain't out here just passing laws, is he?
It took a black person to say that. That's where I
Hey,
was.
we have one body, man. We have one body out here. He's trying to separate.
I'm not. First of all, I'm not racist. My girlfriend. I'm saying,
We say we all believe in the same thing.
and that's
He
fine.
would have said the same thing. He would have said the same thing. He would have said the same thing.
Well, he didn't say anything, but I can tell he means some shit because the way he's
He said
standing
the
right
same thing I said. So go right now. You go.
Really, at the end of the day, man, we're the same people. See?
So, but you wouldn't have said the same thing he just said.
I would have said that. I was about to say.
What did you just say?
The white man is the devil.
That's
He
what I
would
was
say
about
the
to
same
say.
thing.
Neither one of y'all are white, right? Neither one of y'all are white.
No, they're not.
All right.
Nobody on this earth is actually white. He's actually
Well,
red.
that's a whole different conversation. But my point is, whether y'all believe in the same thing or not, that might be annoying y'all. It took a black man to say that the white man,
And they would have said it too.
but he did it.
Because they teach the same
Why
thing.
did, you weren't even talking to me. Why
That
did
was
you
not
say
your
it?
first question.
You know what I'm saying?
Your question
I can
escalated
ask
to
whatever
that
question
point.
I want.
It
You answer my
escalated
question.
to that point.
You
I was trying to finish. But at the end of the day, we're here to tell our people who they are.
Who are the so-called
You
Negro,
answered a
Latino,
different
and
question
Native
that I didn't ask, and he did the same shit.
Who are the
I was talking to
so-called
him.
Negro, Latino, and Native Americans. It's like we are the same people, you know, encouraging them to be separate. And we're going to come together, man.
You asked me what I thought about and what I think is coming. So whether it's all y'all or just them.
Honestly, man, I don't really care what you think about it.
See, now you're getting irritated because I got questions. I'm trying to figure it out. No, that's not righteous. How you claim
We're
it's righteous?
too far into this thing to
What's
try
we?
to explain
What's we?
the world,
Is it
man.
you for?
Prophecy.
There's people that have woke up.
The Jewish people, the people of the world.
There's people that have woke up to you and they're dumber than me. All right.
You wait behind.
I got questions you can't answer. What's your question?
What's your question?
Okay, so you're ready to answer. But when I just said a second ago, I said, all right, let me ask you another question. You got irritated. That's not my point. If you're gonna be righteous, you got to see the whole thing through.
Let him answer your question and don't interrupt.
If you can ask the shit.
But y'all all interrupted me.
Just ask him,
You know, I
man.
didn't want to stand in there.
Like,
I'm not even trying to.
Strike, bro.
What's your view? I'm gonna just say that.
on the other street.
Same thing.
Okay.
So 50, 60 years from now, where do you see humanity? Not America. Oh yeah. Do you see people starving, corrupt? I'm trying to ask him a question. Y'all leaving though now, right?
No, they're setting up. They're going to be here for 4
Oh,
hours.
they're gonna be here for 4 hours. I thought he was leaving now because he was going away.
Are you leaving now?
My friend just left. I'm here all day. I'm just trying to figure out what what should be out. So the way I look at it is,
We don't care about what you see, man. We care about what the Bible says.
but he just asked me that question, so that's what I'm saying. He asked me a question, and when I come up to answer it, now all y'all are saying,
We don't care about your opinion.
I don't want to see that. I don't want. I already know all those names. I'm trying to talk to you. If you're gonna stand on this corner and try to preach, how can I not come up to you and talk to you?
You already know the answer. Why you trying to
You asking me what's the question, right? So when I just said that,
You didn't ask the question. What's the question?
Exactly. Talking circles, bro.
Yeah, that's
I just asked you, can I ask you a question? And y'all said no twice.
Now we told you you could ask the question, so ask the question.
I'm talking to him. Is that clear?
First of all, you're not running shit. Exactly.
So now you're trying to get gangster with me.
No, I'm just making notes. I'm just letting you know you're not running shit up here.
I'm not trying to run shit. I'm not standing on the corner. I'm not standing on the corner.
Hey, all y'all be quiet. I'm talking to this man. I ain't running nothing, but I'm telling you exactly what.
We don't gotta bring it on some gangster. Sorry. I'm just trying to.
enmity against the Most High, man. That's why 2/3 are going to be put to death right along with this fucking white man.
Right, yes. I'm talking over. That's the way.
And I want you to, when I say this, I want you to answer in the lines along of if you think this is either correct or you think it's corrupt. Like you think it's corrupt. That's all I'm asking. I think this world is going to open the curve. The majority of people are all about themselves. Especially people that are making money. They don't care about anybody else. You see millions of homeless Americans, hundreds of thousands, and there's plenty of space and room for all of this. You got, I talk, and I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm gonna listen to that, but I'm just trying to finish. I take Ubers and stuff. I listen to a bunch of Africans. They come from Africa. They tell me, yeah, I like your hair way better. I was in the car the other day, and this goes back to what you were saying about how, originally white people corrupted everything. He was saying that if they never went to Africa, to the cold, boy, diamonds, all that stuff, Africa would be one of the best places to work. And that's not, you can't really deny it. So I want to know what you think about what I just said.
Proverbs 29, verse 22.
Do you have any other questions, bitch? Before we get going here, man?
We're talking a little bit about sort of the timeline of things. If some of the Christians that I talk to don't like to talk about when things are going to happen, but it seems like you guys have a sort of timeline in mind in the low sort of tens of years, right? Like 50 years.
Not really. So to a degree, like basically, when you study what's written in the scriptures, even the Lord, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, even he said that he don't know the time. So basically, it's just a thing of faith. I mean, if everybody knew the time, then you would be out here the day before. You know what I mean? These guys would be out here the day before. So basically, it's a thing of strictly faith. And what even beautifies it even further is you justify your faith by your works. So you're going to see people actually physically trying to do things to prove what they're saying and that they actually believe. You know what I mean? So through this weak flesh, we're going to overcome just by simply believing.
That's
Yeah, so that's
So do you think that, do you believe that the world is going to be around in 40 years or 30 years?
yeah, I mean, even when the prophecies of the destruction comes, it's not necessarily the destruction of the world, but it's cleaning up of the world, you know, a destruction in order to refurbish everything, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like the first destruction was by water. This destruction is going to be by fire, which is used as a cleaning element. Then the world is going to be rebuilt, and we're finally going to have peace. Like I've told you before, you know, this is what I believe the only foundation to be to let that come to pass. You know what I mean?
And this, the refurbishment, though, it's going to be within our lifetimes, or in the next 100 years, or could it still be 1,000 years away?
Yeah, going back to the original question,
right?
We were given signs and prophecies to know what is going to happen. You see, to know how close things are going to be. One is you're going to have, you know, all these Israelites waking up to who they are. We're going to be realizing who the wicked is, which is the government. The whole world is beginning to find all that out. You see, on top of that, we're going to have the RFID microchip, which is, you know, we believe is coming right after this vaccination is going to be forced upon us. So once that RFID microchip is something that's made mandatory, then that's when it's right around the corner. And even then, we still can't give you a date, but you know, we can say, hey man, this any day you're about to see bombs drop. You know what I mean? So basically things are just going to get worse, and as they progress worse and worse, that's when we know how close we are. So we truly believe we're super close. Because why? Because all these Israelites waking up, all this craziness going on throughout the world, all this is just prophecy that's unfolding. See, and really just these next, you know, just really this next year, just seeing how things progress is going to show us kind of where we are, you know?
Okay. If people see this video in 100 years, can they be like, he was wrong? It wasn't imminent. It was much longer than he thought.
Yeah, they can think that, and I'll take it all day. 'Cause like I said, I didn't know to begin with. I'm just hoping, because I'm examining the world for what it is, and I'm terrified for what my children are going to grow up in.
Yeah.
And I'm really just worried of the condition of the world, man. I mean, we're headed towards extinction, and this is the only way that we're going to be made beautified.
Excellent, thank you, I appreciate your time. I'm going to film a little bit more of this guy here, see how this progresses, and then I'll leave when you're toward the beginning of your stuff.
Yeah, you're fine.
Cool.
Good talking to you.
You as well. Thank you for talking to me, Gal.
What I'm saying is, I look at it as black and white are two totally different opposites. You can't mix them. You know what I mean? The way they want us to look at it is, you think black and white, they're opposites. That's the way the society goes. They're black and white. Nobody's white like a piece of paper. Nobody's black like a sheet. Like my shirt, like you said. That's exactly what it is.
You go look at the definition of white, you go look at pure, innocent, so forth and so on. But you look at the people and look at their history. It's the furthest thing from white. And they put black on us because what? It's water, life, and darkness, and evil. And that's why they can talk. That's why they can put us in the movie. A black man, they have you on the mud on the damn camera. Even now you already got that verse. That's what they do. That's why they put all the movies they put out about us. Goddamn or the hood, society. They take the image of us being water, life, and being deep. That's not crazy. You know why? You know why? Because we saw the earth. Everything we do, everybody else does. We got some. Think the Chinese, we got motherfuckers in China saying, man, like, our people do. Right? Because we need even though we got
We're always used to every night.
So I want to know what y'all think about that. That's my last question. Y'all like him? He Asian.
I like your shirt.
Asian. He worked for somebody. He was sent by somebody.
That's the government.
They don't want us down here. Because now our people are waking up to understanding who we are. Things are happening.
If we were out on the corner selling drugs,
We started breakdancing.
doing all that, they would have bothered us.
I thought it was interesting, and he's reporting it too.
Yeah, it's
But
all-
I thought it was interesting how we standing right next to
That's
y'all.
what I was saying.
Out of all the places we could have been in the city.
Like I said, we got to sell some damn dope, smoking the blunt on the corner. There wouldn't be no camera in our face. Look at those niggas, they be walking by.
He's been in other states, man, and he came down here looking for us.
I'm not judging either one of y'all, but it's almost like he's studying. Because he told me the exact how long y'all gonna be out here for, what time you come here.
Hey, I got you right here, bro.
Okay.
The same thing.
He's not going to let me argue back.
No, I'm gonna talk to both of y'all.
Cool.
Just, you know, I like
This is Ezra 4:3. But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, Ye have nothing to do with us to build an house unto our power, but we ourselves together will build unto Yahweh our power of Israel, as King Cyrus the king of Persia has commanded us. And then
So what's happening?
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say.
So what's happening? What he just read? That's when we came out of the Persian captivity in the ancient time. We had to go rebuild the second temple. So when we did that, we had the heathen come and try to interrupt our building because when we tied back into our power, we unstoppable.
They were trying to come back and join with us. They wanted to
So
build
I'm
with
gonna ask
us.
you honestly, do you have any kind of hatred in your heart?
But listen, let's address this first, real quick.
So what we're saying is we're building this temple. Now the heathen, because they've been lied to so long, saying that God loves everybody, that all nations are the same. But we're telling them, according to the Bible, that's not true. Just like we was telling them in the ancient time, and they have a problem. Now they're doing everything in their power to hinder us from doing this work of the Lord to bring our people back.
Well, you met Jehovah's Witnesses before, right? Like y'all
So let me keep
according to
reading
Jehovah's
this.
Witnesses,
Let me make this point.
only 200,000 people get into heaven. So that's what I'm
That's
trying to figure
not
out.
what they believe. That's not what's That's not. They don't believe the truth,
But y'all are saying that not every single nation.
No, because the nation of Israel is the only nation that's going to receive salvation. The remnant of the nation of Israel. The 144,000. That's what they got that part right. The 144,000 is a great multitude of our people who are going to be gathered from all over the earth and taken up into the heavens when Yahweh shall return. That's the true name of the Messiah.
Ezra 4:4. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building.
That's what they do each and every week. We come up here, we got scholars coming up, we got agents being sent to disrupt the camp because they want to hinder us from pushing this word so our people can't wake up. They want our people to continue to call themselves black and all this other bullshit. They don't want us to be tied back into our true heritage of being the Israelites and being tied into the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They don't want that because they want that coming to power. When you go back and read our history, when we was tied back into our power, our father, we was unstoppable.
Verse 5. And
I
hire
should be able to ask
counselors.
as many questions as,
let me finish
as much as I'm receiving. I'm being respectful. You know,
Go ahead.
So, as far as labels go, how the world is, y'all consider yourselves like Christians, Muslims, Catholicism?
The Hebrew Israelite. That's all it is.
So that's not Judaism. That's not Judaism.
No, this is a nationality. According to the Bible, this is what the Most High gave us. See? That's what the Most High named us when he named our forefather Jacob, Israel. See? When you translate Israel, it means Joshua Allah in the Hebrew. He is a prince of the mountain. That's what we are. We're not black, we're not Hispanic, we're not Native American. We're called the Hebrew Israelites according to our respective tribes. You see?
They're happy with people in low state. They love that she's calling themselves black and Mexican and all these bywords.
So, would y'all feel comfortable if a white dude came up here and did the same thing as y'all?
Yeah, it could be it is.
Verse 5. And hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius, king of Persia.
So they hire agents to come up and start joking. They get these fucking little bum ass motherfuckers to come up there and try to start fights with us to hinder us so this word can go out. Same shit they was going back in the ancient time. That's what the scriptures tell you. There's nothing new under the sun. They tried to hinder us back then. They tried to hinder us now. But guess what? It's going to be stopped. But at the end of the day, we're not doing this of our own will. We're doing this according to what the Most High said would be happening in the last days of the Israelites.
So, I got
What was the other question you asked about spirit? You said the so-called white man, right? The so-called white man came out and believe what we believe in.
Yeah, so,
What would he be
for instance, I'm going to give you an example.
Go ahead.
You know what a 5%er is? You ever heard of a
Yeah.
5%er?
Yeah.
My dad is a 5%er. Not that I don't, I believe in that. But their whole thing is pretty much the white man is the devil. They'll respect you, they'll shake your hand if they're walking in the store or whatever. They'll disrespect you. But they believe the white man is the devil and the black man is God. And they follow Allah.
That's all.
That's what I wanted to, that's another question.
There's only one true living power. That's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Allah, Shiva, Buddha, Jesus Christ, all those are false idols created by these heathen nations. Because they don't have a God. We're the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We're the only ones who have a God, a living God, the God that created the heavens and the earth, the oceans, the seas, the creatures in the sea, every human being. That's the God that we serve. That's the God that stands behind us.
So what do you think about when the Christian Bible, Catholic Bible, says hair like wool?
That's
a black person.
He's a so-called black man, yes.
But so why in movies and stuff, why do they...
We just read it to you. That's why. We got hair like
Is it
wool, right?
corruption part?
You see how this one, right?
Yeah. Hair, they had skin like bronze and whatever. Yeah.
What is that?
That's what I'm saying.
He was one of us. He was
So it's part of the corruption.
So we're gonna tell you why. Once again, 'cause we just read it to you earlier. That's a good question.
is Job 9 and 24, and it
We
reads,
will open up that this song.
the earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
So you saying why is it he always portrayed the movies like a white man?
Brad
right?
Pitt played him. And it's called a movie called The Bible, a TV show.
Well, it says, look, the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. What do you mean, bro?
He covered the faces of the judges thereof.
He covers the place of the judge thereof. The number one judge is the Messiah, Yahweh Shai. See, he's the Messiah, Yahweh Shai. His true name is Yahweh Shai, not Jesus. Yahweh Shai, not Jesus. That's a false name.
So you believe it's a black man, or it's a black being.
You got the picture right there.
No. So-called man. He's a so-called man. He's a very dark-skinned man. You see, of the tribe of Judah, but like you said,
So when you say man, I said being.
I said man. But right now, you know what? He's a being right now.
It's an entity, it's not a being. It's not a man. We're men.
Oh, he is a man, but he's not coming this type of body. He's not coming back to that type of body.
So you think there's a difference between Jesus Christ and God? He was once a man, but God was never actually here. So spirit, this is spiritual being. I'm not trying to interrupt y'all, I'm just trying to
Good. It says, if not, where and who is it?
Everything into the hand with cover the face of the face thereof. If not, if it ain't so-called white man, who else has the image of themselves playing Messiah besides the so-called white man? Every time, hey, look at the old school, the Ten Commandments, the Passion of the Christ. Every time they portray them, right?
the Bible. That's Brad Pitt.
So type in for the Google type in Jesus Christ, just come on. A white man will come up. Why? Because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The ones who put the image of are the wicked according to the Bible. Who did? So-called white man. So we're not just out here saying the white man is the devil. Just for saying this because we can follow these characteristics of the wicked and see who it was.
But you don't blame other white people like
Yes,
like her right there.
all of them, you know why? All of them have their hand. Because now, since we bring the true image of the Messiah, let's say not the image don't matter, but before the truth came out, that's the image y'all worship. So y'all all believe in it.
You
grew up
consider that
thinking-
racism?
We grew up thinking Moses looked like Charlton Heston, bro. You know what I mean? That was
But y'all
like
consider that racism? If you want to be technical.
So this is the thing, man.
blasphemy of the Holy Spirit.
All right, so let me describe. So let me see if you see what I'm describing right here. It's a creature with buck teeth, a flat tail, bills down. What is that? What is that?
My teeth, bills
He has buck teeth, a flat tail, bills down. You see? What is that?
like a platypus or
A beaver,
yeah,
right?
platypus or a beaver.
All I did was describe the characteristics to you, right? So if I'm telling you, the devil, according to the Bible, he covered the face of the judges. He put up his image as being the Messiah. He said, he tells you that he's going to live by the sword. So that means he's going to be in constant wars. You see?
He's going to be the best at war.
That's like live by the sword, die by the sword.
He's going to destroy the earth and put a number of wickedness in the earth. Who would you say is doing that?
Already, I told you. You
Oh, all right.
already know. Yeah.
That's all it takes. All you have to do is get these characteristics and look at all the nations like that. Well, the Chinese not doing that. The Indians, the East Indians not doing that. We not doing that. So that only leaves the so-called white man. That's what you got to do. Hey, you got to get the clues, man. The clues are up.
So you think, or you believe that America and Europe, all those countries combined, are more corrupt than the Chinese?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's bring that up for what you just said.
Well, you know what? Not really,
I read politics and whatever they feed to us. I know China's corrupt as shit.
Well, you got to understand the international bankers who are so-called white men, they're the ones who are controlling all these leaders of all these different nations. See? So everything they do, they're doing it according to the agenda of the elite bankers, which are the so-called Jews.
But China, they're, I think, the second richest country on earth. They went to Africa like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
They started building statues and giving people money just so they can establish a place in Africa.
Yeah.
So you think that America and Europe, they have something to do with it?
America knows the elites have something to do with that. The elite bankers.
Like I was saying,
the ones who control the bank. I mean, the ones who control the money are the ones who
So it's like the Rothschild and all
Said the
that.
down is a part of 5%. We're talking about the 1%, right? The Illuminati, the elites. The 1% controls the well.
Let's
Let y'all do your thing.
You brought that sword. This is Revelation 13 and 10. You brought that sword, right? Live by the sword, die by the sword. Verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
Just like we told you about the characteristics. Who led who in captivity? So what does that mean?
They're going to end up there in the same place.
Under who? Alright, cool. That's what the Bible says. That's all it is, bro. That's what the Bible says.
Alright.
Why? Do you get it, Mitch?
Now, I'm going to talk to him too, because I want to see what
I
he got.
get that you believe it, yeah. I get that you believe it, and I get that you're wrong. A couple of your claims have been incorrect. So they talk.
What do you think about?
Yeah.
Oh, he wanted. I'm not
It's
trying to be
abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight.
They led us into captivity. They gotta go. They gotta pay.
That's what true reparation is.
Yeah, they ain't putting them right in the check. It's them being shot with each other.
You're saying it's like science, pretty much. You got positives and negatives in science.
And who created all that? The most high. Science means knowledge. That's all it means.
Alright.
Let's get it. Hey.
What do you think about what they just said? I'm sure you will listen.
I think
First of all,
yeah.
if you're part of the FBI, I want to.
No. I just do this for YouTube. I go around and I talk to a lot of street preachers. These are one of the groups that I talk to. There's a couple of them around town.
But they said they don't like you.
A lot of people don't like me.
Tolerate you.
Yeah. So usually now they're yelling and they're doing like the sort of they do
trying to
this
be loud.
Yeah, and so I try to meet them at about that level, and they don't like it. So right now I'm just gonna. It was before they started and talking in low.
You think that's like psychotic though? Is they think you're an FBI agent? Like,
I think that it shows how quickly they can move from a state of understanding things to complete fantasy. I think that a lot of.
First of all, I don't mean to cut you off. Where are you from? You're not from America.
Yeah, I'm from Los Angeles. The accent's fake. It's for YouTube.
Why are you talking to me like that though?
Because I'm going to put more of
I'm
this
on camera.
conversation. Yeah, I'm gonna add it to the YouTube thing. The sort of questions that.
What's with the fake accent though? Why, does it give you more views?
Well, no, I don't think it does, but it sort of addresses the idea that.
I don't think you're actually from here, is what I think.
My real accent is like this. I talk like this a lot of the time.
Oh, okay.
From Los Angeles, yeah.
Okay.
And so they a lot of times when people are talking religiously, they dress up and they use a different cadence of speech and things like that. And so that's why I'm.
So you're pretty much trying to replicate
Yeah,
what's going on.
I'm
right
trying to
next you.
parody other street preachers.
They don't like that.
It's designed for them to not like. If they're like, you're making fun of us, I sort of am. But mostly I'm trying to show that everyone's religious. Everyone can do this thing of like come out and preach our beliefs in the street. And there's ways
So
to do
you're
it.
preaching free speech, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's your whole point.
I'm saying that
So
what
you're
they're
not coming from a religious standpoint 100%. You're just like, I can stand here, I can talk next to these people that have a strong belief, and you can do, if you want to speak, you can do whatever you want. That's basically what you just said.
I'm very supportive of the First Amendment, but I'm very religious in what we're talking about. I like to talk about theology and things
Like I
like
asked them, as far as labels, what would you consider yourself?
that. We call ourselves Pastafarian.
Pastafari?
Yeah.
Isn't that a thing that originated on like Reddit or something?
There is a fellow around the year 2005 who wrote a letter to the Kansas State School Board, and then a lot of people got involved around that point.
Isn't that about, I'm not trying to sound dumb, but isn't that about pasta though? Like
Yeah.
Pasta?
The answer to the question, when people ask us what created the universe, we answer that question with the answer, the flying spaghetti monster.
And yes, actually, I'm not trying to disrespect you, but that's actually what you believe in.
No, I don't believe anything created this universe, but I think...
So how do you think we all came about?
I think it sort of is time collected a lot of very similar things together, and then those things were alive, and then life collected as well.
Okay, and where does the spaghetti monster fit into that?
It fits in when people wonder what was the first mover, when people wonder theological ideas of like way back before everything, what was the first thing. We think it's sort of a nonsense question that evokes nonsense answers, and so we're trying to get an answer that we can work with, because a lot of people, in answer to the question what created the universe, say Jesus.
That's mankind always wants an answer to everything.
Right, and so
I'm trying to figure out, so the spaghetti monster, from what I understand,
it's an answer that doesn't put
it's It's a being that's made of pasta and like meatballs or something like that, right?
that's how we picture him. But that's as nonsensical as any way of picturing him.
So it's almost a sarcastic.
Yeah, yes, because we
okay.
wouldn't ask the question we wouldn't answer that question unless it was asked to us. We don't really care what created the universe because it kind of doesn't matter.
Or it's more like you won't answer it, like in an actual non-sarcastic standpoint, unless everyone knew what it actually was.
Right. We can say it's like an X in algebra. What is the number? And we say we don't know anything about it, so we'll put X there. We'll call it Flying Spaghetti Monster, and then we'll find things out about it.
So what they're saying is God, whether he's black or yellow or whatever. But your point is they can't actually bring him down here and start walking around and prove that that's a being.
I think that calling the creator a race is a sort of nonsense thing, just like saying he's made of spaghetti is
That's what I
nonsense.
didn't understand.
Yeah.
So when I said to them, it's kind of a racist thing, and he
Yeah.
said yes.
Yeah.
I said if a white man says next to you and is preaching the same thing, he said no, I love him basically.
I think he
how-
misunderstood what you were asking there. I think he was answering
wasn't
a
just
different
me,
question.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So because I think that it's silly to think of God as a race. I think we're all children of the same
He
God.
called him a man. So I was
Yeah,
like,
I also think thinking of God as a gender is also silly. I think it's not helpful in the conversation.
I called it a being.
Yeah,
That's what I said,
and that sort of gets the
I'm not
things.
saying what I believe in. I'm just saying that's what I would call it, a being.
Yeah, until we have a better way of talking about it. And so that's what the project of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is like make us less certain about these things, because it's the certainty that my friends here have that there is imminent war and destruction that is dangerous.
Excuse my language, I don't know if you like cursing, but they're pretty fucking sure. Like,
Yeah, and their timeline is faster than a lot of other people's. I talk to some people, and I get the impression that they think there's going to be about 20 years left or 50 years left before the end of their book. And our friends here are
that's
very.
why I was saying, what do you think in 50, 60 years? They said it's not going to be 50.
I think that that's right. I think they don't believe that. And when I was a believer
You think they don't or they do?
I think that they believe that very soon. I think they believe in a 5-year sort of 7-year
So, end
timeline.
time.
Yeah, I think
What do you think so?
I think that we're going to continue on for humanity is going to be around for a very long time. I think thinking about the future as a very long time is a valuable thing to do. We might mess up and nuke the whole thing and kill all life on this planet in the next 50 years. It's well within our reach. I don't think we're going to do that, but I might be wrong.
So do you think the wealthy, like I'm talking Jeff Bezos,
Yeah.
Steve Jobs is dead. Jeff Bezos, who's the owner of Facebook,
Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg,
Yeah.
all those people, even the ones below them that have less money.
Yeah.
Oprah or
Right.
even a rapper and Dr. Dre or whatever.
Right.
Do you think those are going to be the ones that their children will live the longest because they have the most resources?
I think that they are positioned to live very long lives, yes. But I think that the sort of group of affluent people that consider themselves safer when they remove themselves from society and put themselves in like safe places are going to find those safe places to be a bit too sterile
So are you
to
talking
sustain
about like
life.
a guy, I saw a YouTube video a year ago, old guy, 70 years old, lives in Alaska by himself and just hunts fish and whatever.
Yeah.
So you mean people like that?
If people say I'm rich, so I'm going to go live in orbit, and the life on Earth will die, I think they'll be living in like submarine type situations, and I don't think that's a healthy way to have multiple
They'll still
generations.
So you say you don't think they'll have multiple generations?
I think by the third generation, that system won't be very sustainable.
So you don't believe that we can colonize Mars and all that stuff?
I think that we can, but the life that we'll be living will be look like suffering compared to what you and I are enjoying today.
So it's virtually hell, according to
It'll be uncomfortable. It'll be an uncomfortable life, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Okay.
I think that instead we should clean up what we have here, and I think we have the power and intelligence
You
to.
and I both know it's not going to happen.
I don't think we have the will to do it.
People want to go to Starbucks, they want to take
Yeah.
the bus and ride cars.
And people want it just to catastrophically simply end at the end without any input from us. They want it to just be a story or a ride we're on, instead of a collaboration between all of us. So spiritually, I am still involved in these ideas, and on the spiritual conversation,
these ideas.
the ideas of what the future looks like and what morality is and how we can build a better future, and how we can tell the people around us to get involved. Well, religion is proselytizing.
Well, historically, it's a deadly thing. Like Catholicism, they killed a lot of people.
Yes,
Simply because they didn't agree with what they were saying.
because they thought that what they had was truer.
The majority of people,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying to them.
Yeah.
How can you say you're righteous, but you're going to sit here, like, you see how he got street on me? He was like, you claiming this? Like, I was like, well, how are you going to bring it to the streets in here preaching about Jesus?
It is one of the things that they do in their camp here. They are emulating sort of an authority here. So they were asserting their authority on the street and saying, we are the authorities here. Don't try to tell us what to do here. And
Sorry, I keep cutting
no.
So, I don't know if you were watching, I think.
Yeah.
So I asked them a question.
Yeah.
I asked them 4 questions. The first time I asked them a question, they got irritated, said we're not going to answer that. And the second time, they were like, okay, answer the question. We argued, came back.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want to answer it. Came
Right.
back. Then he said, okay, ask me a question.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out what's the
Yeah.
correlation, because they're both believed, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, if you're an FBI agent, whatever the fuck, you're not going to tell me. So I'm trying to figure out the correlation of why you're standing next to this certain group of people, and what's your difference compared to theirs is the main thing I want to know.
I have been interacting with this group of believers for a number of months, and last week, Gar and I, at the end of it, were able to lower our voices and connect. And so I wanted to come back this week and continue that connection.
So have you met other groups like this?
Online I have. This is the largest group of this type of believer in Denver. I don't know of any group that gets about 6 people together in Denver weekly like they
Honestly,
consistently
you're very
do.
suspicious to me. One of the main reasons is because whenever I talk, you just listen. Most people, they'll just keep talking or cut you off, but you listen and you're using a British accent. They're kind of weird to me. I'm not yelling. Like, you're kind of suspicious. I believe that you have a way deeper purpose to
I do, yeah.
what you're saying.
Well, I do. I've given you one of these. Is that right?
I think it was green.
Okay, but my YouTube is on there, up at the top here. There's the YouTube, so you can see the work that I put up. I've been doing this about 5 years.
And only Colorado?
No, I travel around when I can. I've lived here in Colorado for the last 5 years, so I've been here mostly. But I have family in LA, so I go that way a lot. And then last year I was able to make a tour of the East Coast.
East Coast?
Yeah.
So what part? I'm from Philadelphia.
We skipped Philadelphia. We went Chicago, New York.
Chicago's not the East Coast.
And then we went from
Chicago's
here.
Illinois.
Yeah, we drove from here. We stopped in Chicago, and then we got to New York, and then we went down the coast to DC, and then to Miami, and then back. So not too much preaching, but we did
So
get
you
to.
went to like one state. Right?
Yeah. It was very quick, and we didn't get to hang out a lot.
What do your viewers think about what you do?
They think
Majority, I should say.
Yeah.
There's always, one guy. It's like,
they seem to be like, I wish that I could do this. I wish I could go out and talk to them and oppose.
can.
They can. Are brave enough, I guess. I suppose
Yeah.
what they say is,
Okay.
this guy's brave.
Yeah.
We need more of things like this. I think is sort of the general thing is that they come out here and they set up a thing that looks like they want to have a conversation, but actually it's sort of more of a thing like sermonizing. And most of the preachers do that. That it seems like they're inviting into a conversation, but what they're actually trying to do is talk a lot. And
that's the one thing I noticed.
Yeah.
If you're trying to preach to somebody and you mean well and you want them to believe something, they were talking way more than I was. But whenever I wanted to ask a question or talk, it was a problem. That's when it, came to, oh, are you claiming this or, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I noticed. And that's what I said to him. I was like, well, if you're trying to preach something to me, let me speak my part and then you answer it. And if you believe God is real and that's what you're here for, then you're just here to answer questions realistically.
Right,
You
right,
know what I mean?
right.
So,
But instead, what they're doing is it looks like that's what they're doing, but instead they're following a command from their book, and it's something more like go out there and not take the questions, but condemn those that walk by. And it's a very biblical idea. It happens a lot, but I don't know how I don't know if it's going to benefit us. The future that they're looking for.
when you say us, who do you mean?
Oh, the planet, the whole planet. I think the future that they're looking for is going to cause more suffering than it alleviates, and I think religion can grow out of that. I think.
Well, their whole idea is that white people started slavery, so they're the ones that should be enslaved.
Yeah.
You're, technically speaking, if you're a righteous person, you would give those people forgiveness.
I think that forgiveness is a very kind thing to do.
Righteousness is righteousness. And righteousness means you do no evil or harm upon to others, even if they deserve it. Technically speaking,
I think so. I think that doing harm to someone as punishment for doing harm is a double crime. I think that the point is, I think the point is, slavery back is not justice. But I think another point is, here we all are slaves to corporations. Like we all, that thing that they're talking about metaphorically has already happened. But they want it to be sort of a literal thing. And
white people are slaves too.
yeah, we have created a capitalist system that has covered the whole earth and made everyone a slave. So, and we can blame it on white people, or we can just be like, it happened or whatever. It happened, we're all slaves. Not as bad as it used to be. Like, it was rough 200 years ago. It was really obscene.
Well, that was physical slavery.
Right.
Now it's like all mental. There's this whole thing where, as far as I understood, they dominate people with motivation.
Yeah.
So the whole point is, if you don't have money,
Yeah.
you can't do. You're going to starve them out.
That's right.
So it's part of dominating people because, like the Federal Reserve, we're standing in front of this right now.
Yeah.
Because they have the money.
Yeah.
Everyone else is dominated.
Yeah.
Because we can't do anything without their resources.
Yeah, that's right. And your employer, even after you've traded the money, your employer still feels like you're beholden to them, that they've given you the money. And it's like, no, it was an exchange, and now you're like, you're welcome. And it's like, no, you're welcome. You needed an employer, and that's not how they feel about it. Immediately, they are like, do everything I want. I think
Corporations are corporations.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, well, they didn't fill out the application to hire you. You filled out the application to work for them.
right.
So
Yeah.
and I feel like that's where we get mistaken. Me personally, I think if we all help each other equally.
Yeah.
I work
Yeah.
for you. I do the best I can.
Yeah.
Pay me a decent, reasonable amount. You know what I mean? And a lot of people separate personal life from work.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the dude that goes home from work and beats his wife. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like
I'm a different person at work. I'm a different
Exactly.
character. Yeah, I come
But
home
still,
and
your
I have
personal
different
life
values. Yeah.
as a part of who you are. Everything that you've been through personally, that's what led you to work at that job.
Yeah.
So let's say if you're a mother and you have 2 children, you're going to work for $12 an hour. The fact that you can't go talk to your boss and just be like, hey, look, I can't come to work the next day, or I just need to hold something.
Yeah.
We have to go to banks.
Yeah.
People that rule all this shit. So I think it's a whole psychological game.
Yeah, and I think we can break free from it soon. I think we have the resources now
I think
to.
that will happen.
I think it will happen in places, and we can bring ourselves to those places and grow those places.
You've seen the people out here, like you know how it is. Me personally, I don't think. There's always that guy that.
I'm very pessimistic about a lot of things. I'm very pessimistic. I think people are going to sell democracy away. I think we're going to lose our democracy. I think we're
What's
going
democracy?
to. Hopefully,
People that live in Afghanistan, they think chopping someone's heads off, and a
Yeah.
woman stays in the house 20 hours a day. They believe in that. So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
And people think that the way we live, like us standing out here talking,
Right.
They get to stand right there and talk about whatever. A lot of people think this is wrong. We should all
Right.
be killed right now.
Yep.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out. What's right or wrong?
That is a hard question to answer, and I think that letting it stay a hard question is what we have to do. I think a lot of people have easy answers for these questions, and they're the worst answers. I think it involves conversations with neighbors out here in the street when we're willing to just say anonymous things, because I don't know you. I can say anything I want to you. You're not gonna the judgment you're gonna give to me is
That's why I didn't
minimal.
have a problem arguing
Right.
with them. Like,
Right.
I was like, what are you going to do? Shoot me right here? Like, you know what I mean?
So we can say whatever we want. This may be our only conversation ever. Though I've appreciated it,
I appreciate
and if we
it.
have more, I would enjoy them. But so we get to represent out here in the street our position freely and emotionally, and we can risk a lot. We can. That's right. That's right. Have I given you my card yet, so you can watch me on
How'd you know
YouTube?
that from looking at him? I met him before.
I've been on the
Oh,
I've been on
okay,
the
I was
street
gonna
quite a
say.
bit. Yeah. What was your name again?
Justin.
Justice?
Yes, sir.
That's a great name. That's a great name. I do hope we can. I hope we can achieve it. I think it's through conversation, though. In answer to your question, how do we find morality? Through conversation, not really through books, but through, hard work.
The main thing I think what it's about right now is, aside from religion, sarcasm or whatever, anybody believes in.
Yeah.
I think right now, as far as us as humanity trying to make it ahead,
Yeah.
preserve ourselves, I don't think it has anything to do with beliefs.
Okay.
I don't think all science is real. Like, there's some things I will say, like, they try to tell you what a black hole is. We can't even go there.
Right.
They just recently took a picture of it.
Right.
And then they'll try to explain to you what it is. You have no idea, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I think as far as science goes here on Earth, I think it's heating up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's starvation.
Yeah.
Cows farting or whatever, methane, all that stuff. There's wealthy people that are controlling every single thing. Even the sidewalk we stand on, it didn't come from a poor person.
Yeah.
So I think if we can sit down as a nation and even as a world and talk about those things first, the things that are sitting in front of all of us.
Yeah.
And everyone's not going to agree.
Where can we do it locally? Where can we do that conversation locally? Are you from here in Denver?
No.
Okay.
I live here, but I'm not from here.
Okay.
I don't think it has anything to do with the destination. I think it's about explaining to people that, like, for instance, he has 2 cups of plastic in his hand, and I'm not a tree hugger. You know what I mean? I do the same thing as he does. We both do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The glasses you're wearing, you're gonna throw them out within 5 years or whatever, and it's gonna end up in the ocean. Or something.
Yeah.
The point is, if we can actually show people somehow everything you're doing, like when you walk into that Starbucks or that McDonald's, or you drive your car, or you buy a pair of shoes, you buy 5 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
People throw that shit away.
Right.
They don't think about it. Oh, it's a trash can.
Yeah.
Let me just throw that in there.
Yeah.
And if you can explain to people that everything you do has an impact, not as one person, but as one person, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if everyone does the same thing,
Right.
it equals to everyone. You know what I mean? So,
And when you say show and explain, like these are education things that have to happen. We have
I wouldn't say
to.
educational because then some people think you're talking down to them. A lot of people don't think that. It's more about explaining what's actually happening. And some people don't care about science either. Science is basically the same thing as religion nowadays.
Yeah.
So you have a better chance of having a crate of plastic cups and dumping it on the sidewalk and saying, you see what I just did? That's what you just did in like the last couple of days. You know what I mean? Just as an example. It's dumb, but people have to, most people are visual learners. So they have to see and understand, like, for instance, like that right there. A stroller, even a stroller for a baby.
Right.
But we're all in our own world. She has a husband, if it's a boyfriend or whatever, a baby. They just wanted to get something to drink.
Yeah.
It's not technically, it is their fault, but it's the companies too.
Yeah.
They have someone produce the plastic and sell it, and it's not just about plastic. It's about the buildings that we're living in, the cars we're driving.
Right. And the sellers of these things saying this is normal, this is what you want. There's nothing immoral about this. Right.
So that is the main problem. Because if all these companies switch today and said, you know what, even though paper is still technically still really bad, but we're going to use cardboard, you heard of box water before? This water that comes in a cardboard box.
Okay.
But it degrades faster than plastic.
Okay.
So, you know, in every company in the world, let's say, they use boxes, not plastic. And even though electric cars are still as bad because you have to charge it,
Right.
it comes from...
It's still coming from a coal, yeah.
But if everyone, let's say, this isn't realistic. Let's say everyone was riding horses, and we all use cardboard or anything but plastic. It would be way better than what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
But none of these people want to do that. People that ride a horse, what the fuck?
That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
That's right.
So,
We just slide into convenience, and we're slowly burning the planet and taking no responsibility for it. And
I try to say that to them.
yeah,
They're going to be like, well, God said this.
that's right. A lot of
That's not
people.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah. A lot of people. I came from a Christian background,
Yeah.
and we were perfectly fine with global warming because that's how it was going to end in fire, and so we just didn't care.
What do you... I was going to say, what do you think? But what I think is, so like, you know what a mega church is, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Creflo Dollar?
Yeah.
How can you build a gigantic building, preach about God, if so-called God loves the earth? You just built a mega church.
I would do-
all the concrete you use.
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not a tree hugger, but like I think about logistics and actual things.
Yeah.
All that concrete you just use, all the people driving there to get to your church. You have 5,000 people in the room.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't.
Yeah, it seems like it's a lot of these people with a lot of religious money. It seems like we could do better with that money.
It all contradicts itself.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, it is. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that just consistently very negative things are done in the name of religion because they're possible.
Like I told you about Catholicism.
Yeah.
They used to do, I'm sure you've read about it. 1900s.
Very terrible stuff. Very terrible. And there's still, in a lot of places on this planet, still today, they are incredibly terrible. Hopefully they're cleaning up their act, but I don't know why a lot of these things haven't shut the whole thing down. Like
What do you mean, shut the whole thing?
I think Catholicism as an idea is one of the most abusive stains on this earth. It's a 2,000-year-old, 1,700-year-old abuse factory that hasn't really done a lot of good. I think it's obscene, and I don't know why I don't know how emotionally and morally people carry it forward, because it's carried forward by the members. One of the things that we are trying to realize as a country is that no, we are voting. We are all responsible for the way of
I hope you don't think that means anything.
we all need to feel responsible. We all need to think of ourselves as citizens. And
I'm not to a lot of people it's just an opinion. And, you know, I'm a young dude, but I can hold my own conversation. And I'm 99.9 plus 1.1% sure that votes don't mean shit.
that very well could be.
The problem with saying that votes mean something is, alright, if you vote for something, you're one person, right? But what happens is, if everyone comes together as that one person voting, if we all do the same thing, they say it will count, alright? But if it counts, why has nothing really changed? Nothing really has. If you look at the last, since like 2000, nothing really has changed.
I agree with you. The future that we have feels very 90s to me. I spent a lot of time there, and I don't think a lot has changed since
So
then.
you agree, like nothing really has changed at all?
Right.
For what?
Cover the standard two treasures of wickedness.
They have some incense burning, unfortunately. It's not chronic, though that would be nice. A lot of pockets around, thank you. A lot of pockets, you'll find it around here.
Would you like to?
Sure, thank you.
Are they filming right now?
Oh yeah, they're live streaming.
here? The white man.
She not like me either.
I don't know. They're just handing out stuff. It was a pleasure to meet you. I'm going to go head out now.
Yeah, I gotta go too.
Yeah.
You stay for a
Thank you
minute.
very much, Justice. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you for talking to me. I think this is truer rather than this.
Well, I think that's why they got. I don't mean to keep going on, but I think that's why they got mad because most people don't have someone actually come up to them and question them.
Yeah,
Okay, well, what happens if
Yeah, it's
So,
just theater.
I'm just a rough person. I like to ask questions.
I'm glad you did. I'll see you really soon.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.